Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another Veve And Ecomi video. And this one, we have something very special. I know you all saw the legendary little talk that David you had, where he had the Pokemon stuff in the background, where he was using that in some presentation and stuff like that. We've all seen the pictures and images and small clips, but a lot of people haven't saw the actual the whole thing and what the context of that was. So that's what we're going to be going over in this video. We're going to be actually taking a look at the entire little presentation and how Pokemon fits into Ecomi and what was the purpose of using Pokemon, and if this gives us some hints to Pokemon possibly coming soon, or if it was just something that was used just to use it. So yeah, we're gonna be checking that out. I'm a little bit better. I've been sick, as you all know. I'm a little bit better. I'm pretty sure it was COVID. But yeah, I mean, I've had it so many times at this point. I was only down a day, which is good. So yeah, let's get it. Let's get into it. And yeah, be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn notifications so you stay updated, and let's get into it.
The next speaker we've got is actually going to be talking about intellectual property and licensing. And this guy can talk a little bit about this because he started selling Pokemon cards in Newfoundland when he was 17 years old.
Coming straight into it.
But it was 1998. He's been doing it for a long time. But it's not only fun and games with David, by the way. He also is known for possessing one of the most expensive whiskeys globally. If I'm not mistaken, it's Karizawa. That's the name he told me. He owns that whiskey. So you want to cozy up to this guy if you want to get a taste of that one, right? So without further ado, let me bring on David Yugioh, founder of...
So this was 2018 in Hong Kong, 2018.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to get to the opening slide.
2018. He got the Ecomi shirt on. I see you.
Yeah. So my name's David. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ecomi, and basically we are in the licensing, distribution, and digital via blockchain. So we're a new startup company. We've only been around for 18 months or so. So I'll give you a little bit of background what I have been doing prior to this. So I founded my first business in games and arts, basically in New Zealand, in 1997 when I was age of 17. And basically, this business was founded with my pocket money, with about $1,100, and I have grown to be the premier in the content and gaming industry in Australasia. Now we have offices all around the world, and we started to do trading cards, tabletop games, board game, role-playing, and now we're moving into the digital realm. And in 2005, 2006, I thought, hey, one business is not enough. So I decided to start another business, and it's called Retail Management Group. So something different about Retail Management Group is that instead of being in the gaming, I use the skills that I have in licensing and bought and foster a lot of the brand into the Asia market region. So helping brands from food, milk, olive oil, wine, from different consumable industry and FMCG to take their brands all around the world into Asia.
One thing that I do want to point out is when he started his other business, from his first business, it started off with licensing. Then his other business, he used his licensing skills once again to make that business. Then with Ecomi, he is once again using his licensing and business skills and connections and doing something else. Like he has a long resume of leveraging his skills and his licenses, his relationships and stuff like that. So keep that in mind. Like he's been doing this since he was 17. So yeah.
So that gives you a little bit of background about what I've been doing, and I will tell you what I have been doing since 97. Many of you will know what this picture is. It's basically happy, cute little characters as Pokemon. What many of you probably will not understand or not know, Pokemon was...
Excuse me, y'all. One thing I will show you is, as you can see here, it is a disclaimer. It's a disclaimer on it, something that could not be seen in some of the other videos. It's a disclaimer that is for presentation purposes only. So this presentation in itself cannot be used as evidence to say Pokemon is coming to Veve and Ecomi because of this disclaimer put right here at the bottom of it. So yeah, like that's there.
It was originally landed in Japan. In Japan, they still call Pokemon as pocket monsters. It was in 96, 97, an American gentleman called Alfred Kahn. He bought the brand and the franchise everywhere outside of Japan and into the international market. He thought Pocket Monster was too hard for people to recognize what this property was, so he decided to call it Pokemon. The first product I bought into Asia and in New Zealand was trading card games. So I was the first one to cash in a way, in the phenomenon of the first major gaming franchise. Pokemon quickly became a very big property for our company, and it was a multi-million-dollar hit. And one of the things that I have learned is that apart from having a great brand, these are just characters like CryptoKitty. A CryptoKitty could be a multi-billion-dollar brand if you know how to foster your intellectual property going forward. Second property, 2002, I hit another jackpot, was Yugioh. It was a Japanese animation, basically.
And I do want to show you all once again, subject to copyright and for presentation purposes only. He has a disclaimer down there once again for Yugioh. So yeah, now we can see in a little bit more detail that during this presentation, it was only for the presentation. Obviously, he has the connections to where he could have called up the licenses and even asked for permission to do this much. But yeah, he did have the disclaimers there.
About trading card games. And we brought out the best product that could go with our product, and that is basically Yu-Gi-Oh cards. This property quickly rise and compete and grow the whole entire sector of the trading card market. What was once become a geeky things, playing Magic the Gathering, trading cards, role-playing, tabletop, become quite cool because it hit the mass market. And that's where we see the NFT and the blockchain will slowly mature into this market. One of the things that I have done about branding and licensing is one key aspect in the gaming. So in my retail shop, I have learned in 21 years is that when you come to my store at any one time, whether it's raining, stormy, sunny, you can meet someone in our store that speak the same language as you. So you kids can quickly learn and make friends because they speak similar language. They understand and they're in a similar hobby. So this is what we call the second secret. If you can touch your audience with your brand, with the second secret, which we all have, because I don't know what you do at home at your own leisure time. There's a lot of people who's into the gaming, cards, miniature game, online game. If you know what their second secret is, this will be where you need to target your brand into. Now, this is a vineyard basically in New Zealand, because I grew up in New Zealand. This is a beautiful Marlborough region in the South Island. One of the major problems in New Zealand is that we are isolated from the rest of the world. So branding New Zealand, apart from pure New Zealand, is that a lot of the product that we bring to the whole world needs to be rebranded to make the market work. So my company, Retail Management Group, basically decided to co-brand New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc with a bit of touch to touch the female market in the Chinese market. So we bought a more funky color, young, stylish to attract the female. This product basically hit the shelf and sold out in a matter of minutes, and this vintage continued to grow into China.
So as you can see here, he's talking about one of his past businesses, and what I find interesting about this is actually a Mormocorno. I mean, not a Mormocorno. It looks like a Tokidoki. Looks like one of those Tokidoki things here. They got the unicorns, and he's actually used this in a prior business. So as you can see for his businesses, he seems to go towards the same brands over and over again, the brands that he has relationships with. And something like this is why I would think that this could hint more towards the Pokemon connection, if you care about that, because his past history, in his 20 years, he does this over and over again. He works with the same brand. So, yeah.
And that's the power.
And if you all don't know, I believe this was the first brand that he got on board, or the first public brand that he got on board of this whole project. This Tokidoki. So yeah.
Power of cross branding that you could be doing with your brands to target the market and to change it a little bit different. So today, I'm actually going to be talking about the different medium of intellectual property, and one of the type is why do we need intellectual property and why is it important to you? And then I will be following on about licensing in the NFT market and where we are now and where we could be eventually. Now, let's have a talk about what is intellectual property. Most of us here at the NiftyCon or in the blockchain space, we are pretty much a new startup. We spend a lot of time in trying to do things, and we try to raise money to spend on things that we do. But the great idea that we have, most of us, we've hardly protected. From the most basic things that we don't even take into account is they are all intellectual property. So why don't we protect our intellectual property? Intellectual property can be the most valuable thing in your company, in your startup. Just giving you an example of the most basic thing you should be looking at is, for example, this is our company logo. It's a device mark. Now, most of you will not even trademark your device mark. So if someone else infringing your device mark, you could be in legal issues. And most of you were not even able to understand what the difference between device and a word mark is. So they are two separate type of intellectual property that you do need to get your company registered. Your trademark and your device mark and your word mark. Now, using brains to...
As you can see, one thing that I would like to say, again, is he is breaking down and showing even his level of knowledge when it comes down to trademarking and licensing, and he's showing that he's very knowledgeable. Also, think about the fact that they have brought on a lot of high-level people in this space, legal people. They have a lot of legal people that they talk to as well. But even the CEO knows this stuff. He knows this himself. So when you see things like Marvel and stuff pop up in Veve, I'm just saying, that you see this stuff pop up. It's like, if he's sitting here breaking down how this certain stuff can't be used and stuff, like, he knows this. And, of course, his legal team would as well. So
leverage sale. So once your brand become well known, you need to leverage it. How you license it out and how you make most of it out. And many of you guys, let me give you an example. This is one of the brands that we bought into the company. It's a new product that my company last year launched in the retail group, and basically it's a baby stroller. So this baby stroller actually retails around $120. As the managing director of the company, I sit down with our team and I told the team, we could be in a $120 baby stroller business, or are we a tech company, or what we're trying to grow, what we're trying to innovate. So I used my network and I bought in the brand Bentley, the vehicle car. Straight away, this brand had lifted $120 retail price to a $600 to $700 retail price with the same cost of production. Now my company makes $35 million US a year just in this one product into China, Middle East, UK, and all Australasia, including Singapore, which is launched. Just one little thing to change on the brand, onto your product. So think about when you're creating a product, creating your brand.
So basically, if you don't understand what he just did right now, he's talking about how they just took a simple stroller, slapped a logo on it, and it boosted the price immediately. That is the difference between Veve's NFTs and any other NFT out right now. You have so many NFTs during this hype and during this craze that everyone's making one. Gary Vee has his own NFTs and stuff like that. Not saying that it won't be valuable one day, but as of now, they're just random characters that he drew. Yes, he can try to do some things to make these things valuable, but it does not matter how valuable Gary Vee makes his products. It's never going to be a Batman. It's never going to be a Superman. It's never going to be, you know, it does not matter what he do. It's never going to be these big brands. So, Veve, the reason that it's such an amazing slam dunk project is that it has all of these licenses and they can slap these logos on every single thing that they drop. Like, and not only are they taking regular stuff and slapping logos on it, they're literally taking the exact characters from these shows and stuff. So that in itself is huge.
How you can reach your customer and take it to the next stage. Now, most business, all of us, have a value in our business, including all the startup. Every single one of you guys in this room, if you're in the business of a startup, you have something that's intangible.
One thing I do want to also say is he just also pointed out a big thing that they do is to reach their target audience. He just spoke about reaching their target audience. Basically, for the last 20 plus years, him and Al Khan, they have been getting licenses and then pushing those licenses and getting it in front of the people who it needs to be in front of. They've been doing this for 20 years. People are wondering why Veve and Ecomi's taking so long to move. If these guys are working together and the brand's not moving, it's because they don't want it to move. Both of these guys, look at their resume. Anything they want to move, it moves. Look at what happened with Pokemon and Al Khan. Look at what happened with Yugioh and Al Khan. Look at what happens, look at what he did with a freaking bike. And he's also worked with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh as well. So, if they want something to move, it moves. So, best believe if Veve is not moving, it's because they don't want it to move right now. And, I mean, that's the best bet for right now. So, just wanted to say that.
It could be. In 1975, intangible asset accounts for about 70% of a corporate's goodwill bottom line. But in today, it's 87%. Most of the large corporates out there has about 87% of their book value is intangible assets. That's how scary it is. And you can have that. Simple things, trade secrets, pricing strategies. You don't want your competitor to know. These are your trade secret and they are the most intangible ones. Customer list, system and know-how. Domain names, as you probably know, recently in the crypto world, there's a domain name sold for multi-million dollars, and that's quite valuable. Register and trademark, which I mentioned before, about your device and your name words. Design and patents, software and codes, as well as your database. These are just some of the most important intellectual properties that you probably need to understand when you go into it. Because if you don't, you're going to be risking a lot of things. And it could be simply one of your employees' leakage or theft of an intangible asset to your major competitors, or you cannot prove an ownership. A lot of them, as we get into the startup business, we have a lot of co-founders, and you came up with a great idea, you can't prove it. I mean, I can give you one example. So in the gaming business, I basically have a team of network guys who come up with gameplays. One of our employees came to work next day and said, Dave, I tell you, I know what we need to do in the game for the next version, but you need to pay me for it because I thought about it yesterday when I was home, not at work. So you need to understand how you can prove and how you contract your asset to make sure your employees, when they're working for you, not just at work, but at home, that they are in the best interest in your companies. So you need to have proof of ownership as well. Now, do not own brands or brand infringements. A lot of them go out and try to copy one another without thinking about it. So these are little things that will trigger a huge intellectual property issues. Now, I just brought up a graph here. Some of the most best global brands in 2000 to 2013. On the left, on your right-hand side, you will see, or your left-hand side, you will see Coca-Cola all the way down to AT&T in the early 2000s. And then you will see a little spectrum. We even have car companies, cigarette company. So what's the top 10 in 2000? And then slowly you will see in the early 10s, 2010, you see Apple and Google start rising up towards the top to become some of the most important property in the world. Now let me bring this chart to 2018. Here we go. We got the top 10 most valuable brands in the world. And you will see 80% of the brands over here are all in the technology space. And something quite interesting here is that you see two Chinese firms, Alibaba and Tencent, become a global brand player. Now that shows you something, that the technology is becoming a very important life of our everyday. So we see these brands every day. So what have all these brands in common? You see all these brands on the screen now. They all doesn't exist probably 20, 25 years ago. Now one of the things that they have in common is very important is this, content. Content will always and still remain to be the king. Now, in the news recently, we all hear about 21st Century Fox. It's a huge content player, traditional media business. But why is this company so important to Disney to offer $71.3 billion? It's because it's content. The content can be rebranded, can be marketed into different type of medium or franchises to earn revenue. So content is going to be a very strong going forward in our everyday lives, in digital, in our life. Now I want to walk you through, since we're at the Nifty Comp today, entertainment brands. The top grossing entertainment brand today, number one is Pokemon. It's done over 64 billion in sale. Then we have followed by Star Wars in 1977 has done 44.95 billion. And surprising, Hello Kitty, 41.1 billion, established since 1974. And then you have Harry Potter. One of the things that you must remember, and you see all the other figures you have underneath are their retail sales, their card game, mobile, their videos, their merchandising. So when you think of a brand, when you think of how you want to monetize your brands, you have to think of different avenue rather than just in blockchain. How are you going to get the mass market adoption for you to be in the space? So these are the top entertainment brand. Now let's look at the top gaming sale brand gross sales. And this is going to be quite surprising. Pokemon actually came first again with 59.1 billion in gross sales in 96, followed by Super Mario Brothers, which is an old 1981 property. Then you have Call of Duty's $16 billion, and also Pac-Man actually made it onto the list. Pac-Man did over $14 billion in licensing and gaming rights. So one game might not be very popular or very valuable, but their licensing of their brand can be in every other merchandise. Here we go. Fungible versus non-fungible. All right, now this slide is kind of, I wasn't sure if anyone in the audience is quite new into this NFT space. So I just made a very simple thing. You know, the fungible is basically having a real $5 cash exchange for a $5 worth of service. And non-fungible is like trading cards. It's only worth as much money as one of you are prepared to willing to pay for it. Now, we're moving into the NFT space now. So let me bring up the next slides. Where are they now and where they can go? Now, in the licensing world, they are all wanting to be in the NFT space. We are working with fashion brands, the toy company, gaming medias, as of today. They all want to be part of this blockchain phenomenon. A lot of these companies have actually employed people to talk about blockchain and to understand about blockchain. So where are we? And when we do a presentation to these brand owner and licensors, where do we talk to them about? So basically I have divided into 3 main categories. Our current stage, our next stage, and our future. So let's look at the current stage. The problem we have is network processing limited speed. So a lot of the brand owner want to make sure that this thing is here to stay and it's not going to crash. If they load something, they give their IP away, it's going to be there. And this is what we are facing as of today. And I think part of this whole panel, part of the whole blockchain summit everywhere around the world, people are all talking about transaction per second. Number 2, brand owners actually don't understand blockchain. So really, we need to educate them. And this is not just the brand owner, this is a lot of the people in the day-to-day life. They are still puzzling and trying to figure out what's happening in the space. But what's happening now and what's happening next as we are right now is that premium branding, they're going to be coming on boards. Luxury good companies.
I will just say that premium brands will start onboarding. This presentation was done early 2018. It is 2021 and all the premium brands want in on this. This is how far ahead, this is how forward thinking Ecomi is. This is why a lot of people have invested in Ecomi. Like, he saw this vision in 2018 and it's just starting to happen now in 2021.
Fashion brands. We're not just talking about NFT in the collectibles. We're not just talking about gaming. We're talking about premium brand want to be on board. We have seen Louis Vuitton, Adidas are already working in the NFT space themselves as well. Then, the first generation of hardware. Now, let me tell you something about my experience in licensing when I talk to brand owners, is that if you know Nintendo, Sega, you know Sony, they are in the gaming of console hardware. They still believe the hardware is quite important. So the one that's going to actually win the war and win the hearts of these licenses to have a physical device to store and something that they can be in touch with. So first generation of hardware is going to be coming out. And then what else is your software going to be able to do? Augmented reality, virtual reality, other aspect of things that are coming on. And we have seen a lot of gaming companies, blockchain company bringing out augmented and other functions to the space. Market consolidation. There will be a market consolidation as the early adopters and early innovator into the blockchain space will basically either run out of money or quite hard to monetize what they are doing, and they need to raise money, and they'll be consolidated into a bigger team. Then, in the 6 to 8 months time coming, we're going to have a much faster processing speed. And things will become more mature, and then that's where the NFT going to be. We're going to be flying. Alright? So it's going to be here to stay. Now, just to introduce you a little bit about Ecomi, what we do. Basically, we're in the hardware manufacturing secure wallet for your devices. We have a dApp, basically holds the content of the products, and we have content rights to do augmented reality or virtual reality, and we're helping brands to market their games, NFT, into marketing space and distribution throughout. But one of the major bits you see on the left.
Hold on, I got to play that back. I just heard something interesting.
Helping brands to market their games, NFT, into marketing space.
So basically, he said they're going to be helping brands to market their games. So we already know that they have some games coming up soon. It's been a lot of games that's been speculated. But if they're going to be working with games, and we already know that they're going to be able to do things like push people to stores, like use location data and stuff like that. And if you're in a certain location, you can open it up and you'll get something for going to certain stores and stuff like that. But if they're going to be actually doing this with games as well, finding a way to actually benefit games and stuff like Fortnite, for instance, it'll be beneficial for them to work with a platform like Veve. That's going to be insane.
Distribution throughout. But one of the major bits you see on the left corner is the protocol. It's something that it's going to be puzzling, and that's something that we are trying to connect, is that what is the best use for us and for everyone in this space. So I have a couple more minutes left. So I want to leave you this thought, and it's quite important. 4 feet 8.5 inches. This number might not mean a lot to you guys, but this number have actually been in our life in every day. Because back in the old days, in the ancient time, in the Roman time, in the medieval time, they don't actually measure things in centimeters. They measure things in either horses that they recognize with, their hands, their feet. So that's why they have 4 feet. And what is 4 feet 8.5 inches? It's basically the measurement of 2 horses' bum, in this case. And why is this 2 horses' bum so important? Because it was a way in the early 1800s how they fixed the war chariot from the medieval time onto the chariot, onto the track. That's how transportation was done. That track measured 4 feet 8.5 inches, was brought in 1800s, 1900s, 2000, into today, even electric. So blockchain is here to stay. So please, whatever you guys do, gentlemen and ladies, please, we are going to be here forever. So when we create something, think of long term. Think what is going to happen in 300 years' time. People are going to recognize that. We are making the history in the making in this blockchain disruption space. So I hope really, whatever you guys are building, you bring this and put this into your heart and think of this story.
One thing that's very important about this is how he's basically talking about longevity right now. Like his whole pitch and stuff is based on longevity and how this is going to be long lasting. It's not something that's quick. So we're in a generation now where we're seeing all the blow up, the safe moons, the Doge coins. We're seeing all of this, the Shiba Inus. We're seeing all of this stuff come up quick and fast and blow up. But years ago, he was talking about the rise to and how things can go long term. You're supposed to be thinking 300 years down the line, and that's their mindset. This is the whole staff team. That's why they all have 20 plus years of experience in their respective industries. Having a long term oriented team, it's amazing. It's amazing because we know that they're focused on what's best for the long term and the survival of what they're building. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
All right, guys. Any questions? Yes, Jordy.
That was a really great presentation.
Thank you.
Can you put the Bentley back up on the?
Yeah, sure. I can put it back up. Can we put it back up?
I'd love to see the Bentley again.
Yeah. It's a product that we brought out last year. And honestly...
Can I just ask you a question about
Yes.
How did you get Bentley to put their name on it?
Okay.
So in 2018, they don't know how he was able to get Bentley to put their name on something. I want to hear the answer to this question, but he was blowing people's minds in 2018.
This is something that I worked on in 21 years in gaming and licensing. Every day I work with brands and licenses. Brand and licenses work very different than how we think, as same as engineers and business people, because the architecture of how we think are very, very different. How I convince them is we understand the economic metric of what they're going to be earning, and for the target market they're going to reach in the spectrum. And they want to be in the luxury market, and most important is that they want to know how they can advertise their brand through different mediums and different products. The problem with Bentley is that they think this product, most people will probably think this product is a 15 to 2,000 retail item. They want to think everyone in this room can own a Bentley branded product. So we put it on, so it is actually got full stitchings, full letter C, and on top of this, I didn't actually design this. Bentley designed this. Okay? So we didn't actually just got Bentley to license for us. We got their team who makes car to design this 6-in-1. So it actually eventually folds down and becomes a tricycle. So it's for age from 10 months to 36 months. So this is a very good success story of how a brand can utilize it into another product. Thank you. And we're doing that into the blockchain space right now. So hopefully that we will be as genius as this in the blockchain. And we're coming up with some phenomenal, and we got some major, huge news coming out in the next couple of weeks in the blockchain space.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it's quite important to learn a lot of these lessons in the blockchain space. So the question that I have is around interfaces. And I don't know if you showed it before, the actual interface for your hardware wallet and how it interacts with the AR. But I'm curious about how you think about the experiential interface for NFTs. Obviously you're already on the front lines of doing it. So how do you think about how we as consumers or we as kind of asset holders can push the boundaries of experiencing NFTs so that it's not just, okay, well, here's my website, here's my wallet, here's my NFT.
Yeah, number one is for NFT to be mature into the market, the user base, the consumer will not even know they're using blockchain. For start is that we need to start thinking outside how we want to proceed. When we first started to go into licensed companies, we talk about blockchain to them quite often. Oh, we're putting in the blockchain. They don't actually understand. They just want to know how it's being distributed and how the contents will not be ripped off. And answering your question is the user interface needs to be pretty much seamless in the sense of when you make a payment, to purchase a good, to utilize it. We have to think of how a gaming company like Nintendo or Sega or Sony does it. When you put a disc into it while it's spin, you don't want to know that's written in C++5 or whatever language. You want to be seamlessly into the game. And now a lot of these games are now streaming live online. And one of the major things is, apart from the beauty of the NFT space and the blockchain space, is that how we can take the content out and to be reused in another game or redistributed into another form or media. And this will be tested in the coming years. But it is actually eventually where this market will need to be in.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, David.
Thanks, guys.
So there we have it, y'all. This was an amazing video, very, very informative. This is the legendary Pokemon. This was the one where the Pokemon was used in, and it gave us a ton of information about his mindset, some of the things they were thinking about and working on back then, and things that he predicted then, and it's starting to happen now. So this is a lot of the reasons that I invested in the company. Like, if you've been around the community a while, you've been watching them, you can tell that they knew this stuff. They were seeing this stuff a long time ago, and now it's starting to come true. They're visionaries. So yeah, it's huge. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below, though. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace out, yo.